Don, the season is over. Your biggest takeaways that you take away from what we witnessed, and you know, it started so tragically, but the way this team hung together.
I'm so proud of the guys. I've been around the game for a long time, and the way these guys stuck together in that room is just remarkable. I kept waiting, during the season if the bubble was going to burst, and we went through some tough stretches, but we always rebounded. Went through a tough stretch in March, and then finished the season so strong. So, I can't say enough about the leadership in that locker room and how guys have stepped up, and not only the veteran players, but the younger players have taken that real big step.
You listen to your kids or your guys, and they are kids to me, but, Johnny Gaudreau and his brother, I mean, they were part of this team all year, weren't they?
100%. As you know, Johnny Stahl sat in the locker room all year, his banner upstairs, and like I said, beginning of the year, Meredith is such a strong person. She said at the funeral at their opening night, Johnny wants you to play hockey. I want you to go play hockey. Go play hockey. And there wasn't a day that went by that we didn't think about Johnny and his brother. But when it got time to play the game, the guys really stepped up, and they had a reason to be playing for Johnny. So, again, so proud of these guys.
You can call me crazy, but I said this season, I believe, is the beginning of something special here in Columbus, because we've literally watched these kids grow up before our eyes, and they're not kids anymore.
No, we got a couple 20-year-olds, 31 goal scorer or 30 goal scorer, whatever he was. Matili was 20, and Matejchuk. But like I said, being able to play these hard games in March and April, these are like playoff games, and it's a great experience for these, particularly the young players. A lot of the veterans have been through it before, so to me, the step was taken. Now we want to be talking about playoffs. It's and I said before, we didn't want to be a one and done playoff team. When we make the playoffs, I want to, after we make the playoffs a couple of years, we stop talking about that and we talk about winning the cup.
You talk about the foundation you built here. How solid do you think it is, and what needs to be added to make it even better?
Yeah, I think we got probably 13, 14 guys that are really been instrumental in our success. We have some unrestricted free agents that have played a part in that too. Our job as management is to try to make us better, and that's at every position. We'll examine every single position over the next month or so to see. Everybody wants to talk about goaltending. We'll look at that. Our defense, we got to look at that. Up front, probably not as much needs, but we will certainly look at it. We did score a lot of goals this year. But that's our job, to go in the offseason. We have draft capital to use for trades. Unrestricted free agent market's not real strong, but we'll look around that. But I could see us definitely making some moves in the offseason to make us better.
This team scored a lot of goals, as you said. Did that surprise you at all? I mean, we see in games where they're scoring 6, 7, 8 goals.
Yeah, it shocks me. If I go back and somebody pulls a clip from when I got here, I said at my opening press conference or right before the season, I was worried about where the goals are going to come from. I'm not worried about that anymore. Now I'm more worried about how we're going to stop their goals. So very impressed with our offensive skills. And when you talk about the Fantillis and Johnson, Olivier getting 18 goals, Monahan having more than a point again game, Marchenko 36, 37 goals, Orensky, best pro career ever. So the pieces are there for sure offensively. They've just got to work on the other end.
You've been around this game a long time. You knew what people were saying coming into this season. How much were you surprised with the way these kids rallied? And I mean, it could have gone south real easy.
Yeah, and if it had gone south there, we would have got a bye this year, a pass. But it didn't. To say I'm surprised that we're still playing games on April 7th, 16th, that meant something. Yes, I was shocked by that, if you asked me at the beginning of the season. As the team started to get through October, November, I said, we got something good here, the way we're playing. I just was waiting for that lull in the bump in the road. We hit a couple times for a couple games. We always bounce out of it. A little longer one in March. That's when I thought, this could be a tough finish for us. But then they regrouped again and finished the season as strong as we possibly could.
You brought it up to goaltending. What do you see there? And you got a youngster who looks pretty good too in Jet.
Yeah, Jet's been really good for us in Cleveland. I think it was important for him to play as many games as possible. And, we went into the season, obviously, with the coaches and our goalie coaches that we felt really comfortable with both Elvis and Tarasov. And, I've said Elvis won us more games than he lost us. There's some nights that maybe he wasn't as good, but I can remember the outdoor game and a few other games where he stole games for us. So, Tarasov maybe didn't get to play as much as we probably should have played at the beginning of the year, because when he got a chance to play, he had sat for a few weeks, had some good games and some games not so good. So, Jet came in and played great at the end of the year. So, it's three guys right now, and again, we'll dissect it to say, okay, are we comfortable with these three guys, or do we want to add to this mix? And that'll happen over the summer.
Give the fans an idea. The draft is the next big thing coming. How busy are you guys? And obviously, you're not going to tell us what you're thinking, but if there's a good defenseman out there.
Yeah, you never know. The good thing is we have 2 first-round picks. I think it'll be 12 and 20, someplace in there. If I can use 1 pick, 2 picks to add to our hockey club right now, we may look to do that. This is the time that maybe a trade to add one of these positions, defenseman or something like that, makes sense. And if not, we know we'll be able to draft 2 good players for the future of the Blue Jackets.
A lot of excitement. It was an amazing scene to see how the season ended, the fans going crazy, and this hockey team, I mean, they blew out the Islanders. So many neat things that happened this season. Is there one that sticks out? And that scene in Ohio Stadium was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was incredible, having 95,000. I think overall, I witnessed it as a visitor coming in here, but being here for 41 home games and how our fans responded to this team and supported this team, even through some tough nights. The last game of the season was very emotional. I was emotional. The fans give the standing ovation. The support in this community, not only at Nationwide Arena, but just in the city, wherever I go, everybody talks about the Blue Jackets. Everybody talks about they have personal touches they feel to it. That makes we're part of the community. We're not the Blue Jackets that just are standalone NHL franchise. We are part of this community. We want to be part of this community, and I felt that we were a big part this year.
Did the fan, you saw it from afar, but now that you live it, the fan experience here, I mean, they're pretty rabid. I hear from them.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like I said, all year. I think we broke attendance records this year, which is outstanding. With no expectations. You think about it, going into the season, there's no expectations, and the fans still showed up. And then the way they finished, to close out the last game at home. I've been in part of some big games and loud crowds, but that one was tremendous. And you reflected on the outdoor game. Who would have thought in Columbus, Ohio, we'd have 95,000 people at the stadium to play an outdoor game? And that experience overall, I think that was benefit, not just for Columbus, but the NHL and the city of Columbus for sure.
Last couple things. I know you were asked when you were hired, is this a playoff team? Let me ask you now, is this a playoff team?
Yeah, I got, to be honest, we got some work to do. But I'd be disappointed if we're sitting here and talking after the season without going into postseason. Even this year, our expectations were high, but in the back of your mind, and when you talk to players, you always talk about playoffs. That's our goal. That's what we're here for, to make the playoffs. So did we take a big step this year? 100%. Would I sit here right now and say we should be in the playoffs next year? 100%.
Last thing, Dean Evison. You did your homework. You bring this guy. How big of a surprise was he, or is he what you thought he was going to be?
Oh, he's probably more than what I thought. Yeah, he's a great personality. Players love to play for him. We talk about players, coaches, and he certainly is that. But he's got a good feel for the room, when to push the buttons. And last summer, we remember going through it. Everybody kept saying, "When are you going to hire a coach?" I said, "When I'm ready to hire a coach," because I said it was going to be the most important hire last summer. Is when I got the job is. Who's going to direct this team, and we went extensively through lots of interviews, lots of discussions with other people in the league, and ended up with Dean. And I think 100% was the right choice.
He always talks about consistency. I love the guy because it was the message never changed all season.
No, he's pretty funny that way. His way he approaches it is just it's different than I'm used to. But you're right. The message has always been consistent with the guys, and he knows when he's got to push the button a little harder than others to get some guys going. And I got to say, he pushed all the right buttons this year, and I look forward to many years working with Dean.
Last thing, I will say this, is you've been doing it a while. The fan base is energized. I think the team is energized. How about you?
Oh, 100%. I was shaking last night, that last few minutes of the game. I actually don't sit in the stands too often. I walk the stands all the time, but I went down and sat in the stands with my wife the last 5 minutes of the game. I wanted to experience it, and I got to be honest, I get goosebumps from it, because I still do right now, because I just know how important we are to this community and how much this community is giving back to us. So that's why we got to continue this moving forward.